Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I might be biased, but under the leadership of Secretary LaRose, Ohio runs its elections better than any other state in the country. Our state's comprehensive approach prevents fraud, minimizes costs, and upholds the legitimacy of our elections. By embracing new technologies, rigorous oversight, and common sense policies, Ohio, in fact, has set itself apart. For example, in our state, we have implemented basic requirements to prove you are a U.S. citizen, a resident of the state, of legal voting age, and more. We have shown we can have transparent and trustworthy elections and deliver those results quickly. I think our process, honestly, can be the model nationwide. And I invite my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to embrace our approach in the Buckeye State. Well, I could go on and on about Ohio, and if you come to my office, I probably will. I want to highlight some of the winning policies, and I'm going to go to you quickly, Mr. Gray. And you've championed the Wyoming voter ID requirement, as highlighted before. I ask you, and I understand your legislative process is a lot different, what were some of the hurdles that you faced while you were trying to implement that law? And say it rather quickly, because I got a bunch of questions.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Congressman. I think one of the challenges is debunking a lot of the sort of straw man arguments that get put out there. And we're seeing that on proof of citizenship for registering to vote and these other election integrity reforms. It took us 4 years to get that through, but eventually I think people saw the light. And I think the 2020 election brought out a lot of these deficiencies that states have in their codes. And one of them was that we didn't have a voter ID law. And we needed to get that done, and we got it done in 21.
And your legislative process, was it meet once every 2 years, or how's it work in Wyoming?
Yes, it's once every year, general session in the odd years, budget session in the even years.
I did learn something from your testimony as an Ohioan. I didn't realize you referred to as Wyomingites. That
Yes.
was one thing I did learn. Mr. Noble, Judicial Watch has filed lawsuits to compel voter list maintenance, including the removal of eligible voters. Under our bill, the Make Elections Great Again, or H.R. 7300, which I am an original co-sponsor, updates voter list maintenance requirements nationwide, including by allowing removal if a registrant is discovered to be a non-citizen. How does this change of address issue have you seen or argued about in court?
Thank you for the question. So the current NVRA has very limited removal options. We can do it for change of address, death, and a few others, but those are the two big ones. There's been restrictions on the ability to remove people directly for citizenship. And if you recall, in 2024, before the election, there was a big debate that the Supreme Court resolved in Virginia right before Election Day. You know, the MEGA Act takes list maintenance from a periodic reasonable effort requirement to a more specific requirement. And it's frankly not all that different than what the Congress did in response to the Uwakava Act in 2009. If you recall, 2008, military votes needed to go out within a reasonable time, and there were a lot of problems that happened in the 2008 election. And then in 2009, in response to those problems, Congress set a hard deadline for Uwakava ballots to go out in the MOVE Act. And so with this amendment that is being proposed for the MEGA Act, make those changes.
Listen, I have more questions, but bottom line, it is beneficial to have a uniform baseline standard for voter list maintenance requirements. I'd like to point out a couple things, because with all the pomp and circumstance and all of the things my dear colleagues have said, I went ahead and I do read the New York Times. Some on our side do. I just wanted to read a quote from there. So as legislators discuss, Article 1, Section 4, this is coming from New York Times, so it's, pretty factual according to my colleagues. Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution states, that states set the time and places and manner of elections. It also grants Congress the power to make laws about elections. That's what we're talking about today. Folks, that's all we're talking about. And to my dear colleagues, some of the other things that I have, and give me just one more second. Some of the letters that have been put in for the record against this legislation, all I ask, the old phrase, judge them not by their words, but by their deeds. Look at the fundings of a lot of the groups that are saying to not support this legislation. So with that, happy to be an original co-sponsor, and Mr. Chairman, I yield back.